What's going on, KSA? Kris here, Real Estate Blitz. And I got a whole bunch of questions in, and I want to address them as best as I can. So there we go. One of the first ones come in. This was off of, which video is this? This came off of the, I think it was the one that I did recently. Why now is the time to crush it, crush in on your passion, Gary Vaynerchuk. So it was about a book I read recently. And it come in from Roshaun, the Realtor. Says, hey, Kris, just started following you. Really enjoy your content. Have a question. I've been in the real estate business for 2 years, but this is my first year, full year. Hasn't been back great, and feel like I was chasing a bunch of buyers around that really didn't get it. And I get it now, and I have been on the phone cold calling, circle prospecting, and starting to hit expireds in at least 2 to 3 hours a day. But find myself, because I'm basically restarting my business over again to now geared towards listings, I'm going to take a part-time job to make ends meet. Do you think this is a good idea? And do you think I'm going in the right direction? This is a tough question. It's a great question. I've dealt with it a lot with other agents in our brokerage. I've dealt with a lot even with myself. You know, when I first started going, I was, in the very beginning, it was rough. We were struggling. And the reason why we're struggling at the time, our broker really, their idea, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos, our broker's like, oh, well, you get bottles of water, right? And you stand outside the gate at these gate complexes and you put your card on there and eventually you'll get business. And that just didn't cut it for me. That's when I started exploring other things. I started exploring social media. I started exploring cold calling, etc. And then everything started changing. But leading up to it actually taking off, it was tough. My wife and I mean, in the beginning of this business, when we started building it, here it was, I retired out of the Marine Corps and I almost lost my house. Deeply believed in what we were doing, couldn't pay the mortgage, scrounging around for money to get diapers for my kids. I mean, it was stressful. It was really stressful. And it's funny, I was sitting out back of my house last night and I have this beautiful view out into the valley now, and I'm looking over my pool, and I live in a wine country estate where I have all these horses now, and it just seems like it was ages ago when I went through that struggle. So look, I've personally been there. Other people have as well. So my view, first off, you have to understand buyers are part of your business and sellers are part of your business. Buyers and sellers. I think walking away from one or the other in the beginning is not the smartest idea. Now, each one's going to take energy just in different ways. And I think a lot of people don't always understand that. When you deal with buyers, they're going to take energy. I went out with 2 buyers yesterday, and what a waste of energy, right? But that's kind of part of it. Buyers are liars. Buyers are going to run you ragged. Not all buyers, but it seems like there's a lot of really crappy people. They don't understand or respect the fact that you're giving time, energy, and expertise, and you only get paid if they actually purchase something, and then they just jump ship at an open house and end up using somebody else anyways. And it's frustrating. It's extremely freaking frustrating. I get it. But that is a portion of your business. The sell side, as far as working with sellers create its own stress as well. It creates its own challenges. And not only that, but if you're a good seller's agent, you have to have capital to invest into the property in order to get the property sold. And a lot of the time, the selling agent is going to make less money. If you're looking at a deal per deal side by side, the seller's agent is going to make less money. Now, this is what I know. We have built almost not exclusively, but pretty darn close, exclusively a listing business. And the reason why is that it brings buyers. For every listing I have, I should get 1 to 2 more deals off of that deal. It's bringing in buyers. It's bringing in opportunity. I get a lot of people now that just call. They just call and say, "Hey, I saw your signs. I see your signs everywhere. I've heard a lot about you." The listing appointment I went on the other day, the neighbor across the street saw somebody that bought a house from us and said, "You should call them." So it creates its own momentum as well. So what should you do? Are you on the right path? This is what I would tell you, Roshaun. Don't just walk away from buyers because you heard something. First off, my biggest fear sometimes on creating these videos is somebody's going to, and I've said this in other videos, somebody's going to take exactly what comes out of my mouth as gold. And all I'm doing is I'm sharing what's worked for me, or I'm sharing what's worked for other people, or I'm interviewing other people so you can hear from their mouth. But you have to create what's right for you and what's going to work for you. Okay. doing it my way may not work for you. Doing it my way may not be the right way for you in your market. But that's something this is content information. You should be listening, taking in information and helping to adjust and make decisions. But don't just walk away from something that was keeping the lights on. And I did a video on that recently, and I talked about that. Don't just walk away from something that's keeping the lights on because you see a shiny object or you want to chase something. You need to build in channels. And I think it was a part of the six-figure agent program, and it was the channel series that I did, marketing channels, okay? You need to build in channels. Don't walk away from something that's working. Build in a new channel over time and be consistent with that new channel so that becomes part of your multiple channel platform to create and generate money. So don't just say, oh, I'm just calling expireds. And, I'd love to go deeper, as a matter of fact, into some of the, who you should be calling, but I've done videos on that as well. So go back and watch some of my videos. So what I would say is don't walk away from buyers. Buyers are a portion of your business. When you start getting a strong seller's business, you start building that into the business that you've already created. When you start getting a strong listing business, that's when you start making a decision on either A, how do I ramp it up? B, how do I ramp it up and hire somebody? Or C, how do I create consistent cash flow for myself to where I'm not stressed out and I can still live the same lifestyle that I want? If that doesn't make sense to you, dude, give me a call. People call me on my cell phone all the time. You're welcome to give me a call. If I don't answer right away, I'll call you right back. If you're asking me where my number is, it's actually in YouTube. Just go to, I think it's info or about. My cell phone's right there. Just call me. Okay, so as far as taking a part-time job, I don't know your situation, and I would hate to be one of these people because I've heard gurus like, oh yeah, quit your job. I don't know your situation. I don't know if you have a family. I don't know what your bill situation is like. I can only tell you what I've done. When we went through the struggles, my wife came to me and she said, well, what are we going to do? And I says, or she said, when are we going to quit? And I says, I will burn it all down. I will burn it all down and we will live in the car before I quit. I was that dedicated and it worked out. And I'm glad I didn't go. I mean, I remember one day I woke up, I'm in my robe and I just sat at the kitchen table and I started looking for a job. And my wife is like, so you're not going in today? I was like, nope, I'm looking for a job. I was going to go work at the post office, I think, or something like that. And she just shook her head and left. And I just felt so defeated. So, I just said, you know what? I just need to double my efforts. Don't change my goals. I got to double my efforts. And that's what I did. And it's worked out pretty well for us. So, man, you're in a tough spot. I would highly recommend, Roshaun, that you give me a call. Give me a call. Call me on my cell phone. Let me ask you a few more questions. Maybe I can help you out. I don't know. But, it really is a personal decision for you. What I would say is don't walk away from your other business. What I would say is double your effort. Every spare second that you have, double your effort. Every spare second that you have, you should be consuming content and information. You should be listening. You should be trying to figure out how, whatever, go back and watch the marketing channel portion that I did, the marketing channel training that I did in the six-figure agent, just hashtag, I think it's KSA six-figure on YouTube. And listen to that because it really talks about how do you build in channels, how do you build out channels, how do you grow and expand those channels. And I think that one would really help you out a lot. That's all I got. This is way longer than I wanted it to be, but I just thought it was important information. So appreciate it. Thank you for the question. Love it when people post up questions. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. If you're watching this, if you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor and subscribe. It gives me a lot of motivation to keep doing these videos because I do them part-time when I have free time. And, leave me questions. I love answering the questions. I answer them as fast and as often as I can. I try to reply back to everybody within 24 hours. And then if they merit it, I always try to make a video on it as well. All right. That's all I got. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Bye.